The price of being first. Haftarat Shemot. A new Haftarah, a new old dilemma. We've had Haftarot where different communities read different Haftarot, and in those cases we chose not to choose. We studied both Haftarot. Our situation differs because the previous Haftarot remained centered around the same verses. Some began before, some began after. Thus, we could address the larger story or the common denominator. This time, the various customs sent us to separate books, Yirmiyah and Ishaya, forcing me to choose, so I decided. I chose to address the more challenging of the two Haftarot, Haba'im Yashresh Yaakov, from Yeshayahu, for two main reasons. First, because this is the Haftarah I read at my bar mitzvah several decades ago, and second, because that's what I wanted to. At my bar mitzvah, I didn't understand the Haftarah I read, but that doesn't indicate anything. Even today, I can't really say with certainty what it's about. It's full of imagery, and commentators disagree about when it was said and whom it addresses. One could say that the average reader, most accurate description of this Haftarah comes, with slight adaptation, from within it. For with stammering lips and in a foreign tongue will this Haftarah speak. Ki bela'agei safa uvelashon acheret tedaber haftarah azot. Nevertheless, I'll attempt to provide some form of summary. The Haftarah moves along the axis between Yisrael and Yehuda's sins, for which they deserve to be punished, and Hashem's forbearance towards them. Despite Israel's sins, Hashem doesn't strike them as he struck those who hurt them. On the one hand, they are not a people of understanding, therefore their Maker will not have mercy on them. On the other hand, they will be gathered one by one, and those lost in Assyria and those dispersed in Egypt will worship Hashem on the holy mountain in Yerushalayim. The prophet describes the wretched state of Ephraim's drunkards, yet Hashem Tzvakot will be a crown of glory and a diadem of beauty to the remnant of his people. These too, the priests and the prophets, will err, though through strong drink and wine the people do not understand the language of prophecy, only stammering lips and other tongue, yet Yaakov shall not be ashamed. When he sees his children, the work of my hands in his midst, they will sanctify my name, they will sanctify the Holy of Yaakov, and stand in awe of the God of Israel. This dissonance between forbearance and punishment breeds complex expressions and realities in the Haftarah. One example can be found in the phrase, the crown of pride of the drunkards of Ephraim, Ateret Geut Shikurei Ephraim. On one hand, decorated pride, on the other, the baseness of drunkenness. That adorned pride will be trampled underfoot. Not only do the common people fall, even great leaders, like the Kohen and Navi, like the priests and prophets, err through strong drink and wine. But this expression, or at least how I interpreted it, is missing something. To explain what I mean, let's focus on another expression. That same glory described in the previous paragraph is described in the following verse as Kevikura beterem kaitz asher yir'eh haro'eh ota be'oda bechapo yivle'ena, like the first ripe fig before summer, which one sees and swallows while it is still in his palm. The people will be like the first fig that blooms before the summer fig season, which people mark and eat immediately, without giving the poor fig time to grow. Our fig aptly symbolizes the complexity within the Haftarah. It is the first fruit, the choicest, like the priest and prophet, yet it is eaten like, and even before, all other fruits. Its primacy doesn't protect it from the terrible devourer who picks it before all others and swallows it while still in his palm. But that's not all. Our first fruit isn't eaten despite being first. It's eaten because it's first. Had our fig been equal among equals, after all other figs have ripened, it would have had an equal chance. The various pickers wouldn't have marked it out for quick consumption before all other figs. They would have left it on the tree to grow more, picking it with its companions only after summer's arrival, not consuming it immediately, alone. So too with the drunken priest and prophet. They didn't fall despite their greatness, they fell because of their greatness, and this happens in two stages. First, while still in their land, perhaps greatness went to their heads. They became intoxicated with power, and thus their glorious crowns fell and they were trampled underfoot. This is the first stage, the stage before going into exile. But there's another one, the post-exile stage. After going into exile, after a brief period of acclimatization, the fig continues to ripen early. It integrates well with its environment and even does its best for the benefit of its new neighbors. Its new priests and prophets interpret dreams like Daniel, become treasury ministers like Don Yitzhak Abarbanel, win Nobel Prizes like Albert Einstein, become educators, cure diseases, invent, write books, and whatnot. Actually, why am I going so far? It happens in the Torah portion too. They save Egypt from famine like Yosef. The observer sees the great difference between this fig and the other figs that haven't yet ripened, quickly picks it and swallows it whole, while still holding it in his palm. And the Egyptians enslaved the children of Israel. Vayavidu et bnei Israel befarech. The successful Jew sees the anti-Semitism flourishing around him and asks the potential picker, how can I prevent this? Why all this inexplicable anti-Semitism? Haven't I tried so hard to be beneficial and harness all my talents and creativities for the good of my new society in which I live? What can I do? The honest picker will look him in the eye and answer with one word: fail. Thank God we're no longer dependent on their mercy. In memory of my beloved and heroic student, Amichai Shimon ben Yishai and Bat Yarubin Hashem Yikom Damo, Dovi Holtz, one who loves Tanakh.